A storm rages across the barren Martian landscape. High-velocity winds hurl fine, rust-colored dust against the reinforced domes of a small human outpost. Inside, a handful of settlers brace for yet another long, uncertain night. Their oxygen supply is stable for now, but outside, the planet remains as hostile as ever. There is no escape from the cold, no safety beyond the fragile walls that separate life from an unforgiving void. Some say this is the future of humanity, a necessary step toward survival. Others question whether this vision is an illusion, a desperate attempt to outrun the problems we refuse to solve on Earth. We have long dreamed of reaching the stars, but in our race to expand beyond this planet, have we asked the most important question of all? Are we seeking a future in space because it is our destiny, or because we are running from something we cannot fix? For centuries, we have been explorers, from ancient civilizations charting unknown seas, to the great voyages that mapped the world. Discovery has always been a part of who we are. The push into space is often framed as the next chapter in this long history. But is it really the same? When early explorers ventured into the unknown, they found new lands rich with resources, places where life could flourish. Space offers no such promise. Every element necessary for survival must be created, transported, or extracted at immense cost. Unlike Earth, Mars does not forgive mistakes. And yet, the argument remains. If our planet faces extinction, whether through climate change, nuclear war, or an unforeseen catastrophe, shouldn't we have a backup plan? If we wait too long, will we be trapped, left with nowhere to go? Or are we so focused on escape that we are blind to the reality that space may not be the solution we hope for? But beyond the question of survival, another challenge emerges. Who decides who gets to leave? If resources are limited, will space colonization be an opportunity for all, or a privilege for the few? Will it be the next great leap for humanity, or will it mirror the past, repeating the same inequalities and struggles that define our history? The answers are far from clear. And even if we overcome the social and ethical dilemmas, there remains a greater challenge: the harsh, unyielding nature of space itself. The journey to other worlds may be possible, but is it something we can truly endure? They say exploration is in our DNA, that we are a species built to push boundaries, to seek out the unknown, to go beyond what we once thought possible. It's an idea that has shaped human history: early migrations across continents, perilous sea voyages in search of new worlds, and the boundless curiosity that has driven scientific discovery for centuries. And now we set our sights on space, calling it the final frontier. But is this comparison justified? Or are we mistaking ambition for inevitability? For past explorers, new lands brought both immense challenges and great rewards. There were dangers, vast oceans, uncharted territories, and the struggle to survive in unfamiliar environments. But Earth always provided something to build upon: water, fertile land, breathable air. Space is different. It is not merely an extension of our past adventures, but an entirely new kind of frontier. There is no air to breathe, no soil to cultivate, no natural protection from the deadly radiation that bombards the surface of the Moon or Mars. Every element necessary for survival must be transported, engineered, or extracted at enormous cost. And yet, the allure of the unknown remains. Some argue that exploration has never been easy, that the greatest advancements come from the boldest risks. They point to the Apollo program, which took humans to the Moon in less than a decade, or the ongoing efforts to establish a permanent presence in orbit and beyond. If history has taught us anything, they say, it's that what seems impossible today may become routine tomorrow. But others caution that this time is different, that unlike explorers of the past, who relied on Earth's natural abundance, space settlers will never be free from dependence on complex technology. A single failure, an oxygen leak, a solar flare, a system's malfunction, could mean instant catastrophe. And while ancient voyagers could turn back if things went wrong, those who leave Earth for good will have no such option. So the question remains, are we truly destined? Or is this a myth we tell ourselves to justify an uncertain future? If survival in space is so precarious, then why are we so determined to go? Is it the promise of discovery, the fear of stagnation, or something deeper, the quiet, unspoken possibility that one day, Earth itself may no longer be enough? A future among the stars. It's a vision filled with promise, the idea that space will be humanity's next great frontier, a place where civilization can begin anew. But behind the optimism lies a harder truth. Space is not a fresh start. It is a reflection of the world we already live in, shaped by the same forces that define life on Earth. And if we are not careful, our expansion into the cosmos may not be a triumph of progress, but a mirror of our deepest inequalities. Some argue that space colonization will be the ultimate equalizer, a chance to leave behind old divisions and create something better. In theory, an interplanetary society could be built from the ground up, designed to avoid the mistakes of the past. But in reality, access to space remains an exclusive pursuit driven not by nations or global initiatives, but by a handful of private corporations and billionaires. For some, this is a necessary evolution. They argue that governments move too slowly, weighed down by bureaucracy, while private enterprises can push boundaries faster and more efficiently. After all, the commercial space industry has already revolutionized access to orbit, reducing costs and accelerating technological progress. But others see a different story unfolding. One, in which the first human colonies beyond Earth are not built for all of humanity, but for those who can afford to leave. If the resources of an entire planet are not enough to eliminate wealth gaps and social divides, what will happen in the vacuum of space? Will off-world settlements become the ultimate gated communities, where survival itself is a privilege? Or will space become a new arena for global competition, with nations and corporations staking claims on entire worlds? And then, there is the question of control. Who writes the laws in space? Who enforces them? On Earth, borders and governments have shaped civilization for millennia, but space has no inherent authority, no built-in system of governance. If the first permanent settlements are owned by private companies, will they become self-sustaining societies or corporate fiefdoms? And if a crisis emerges, whether economic, political, or environmental, who will hold power? The settlers, their investors, or those still bound to Earth? History has shown that frontiers are rarely neutral. Expansion often comes with conflict, power struggles, and unintended consequences. And as we stand on the edge of this new era, we must ask, are we truly building a future for all, or are we simply carrying our old world into a new and even more unforgiving landscape? A colony on Mars, a fleet of ships bound for the outer planets, the first humans setting foot on a distant moon. These are the images we imagine, a bold expansion, a civilization stretching beyond the limits of Earth. But behind the vision lies an uncomfortable reality. Space is not designed for us. Every step into the void is a battle against an environment that does not welcome life. The human body has evolved over millions of years. Here, gravity shapes our bones, our muscles, even the way our blood circulates. But in space, everything changes. Without gravity, bones weaken, muscles atrophy, and prolonged exposure leads to irreversible damage. Radiation, harmlessly deflected by Earth's magnetic field, becomes a silent and constant threat, increasing the risk of cancer, genetic mutations, and neurological disorders. Some believe technology will solve these problems, that future advancements will create artificial gravity, improved shielding, and medical breakthroughs to counteract the dangers. And perhaps they will. But for now, every long-term space mission forces the human body to endure extreme conditions. Conditions we are not yet equipped to overcome. Beyond biology, there is another challenge, one we understand far less: the human mind. Life in space is not only physically demanding, but psychologically unrelenting. Isolation, confinement, and the sheer emptiness of the cosmos have effects we are only beginning to comprehend. Studies on astronauts reveal sleep disorders, cognitive decline, and emotional strain, even on missions lasting only months. What happens when those missions last years, or lifetimes? And then there is the question of purpose. On Earth, people find meaning in the rhythms of life, nature, culture, relationships, the simple presence of an open sky. But in space, those comforts vanish. There are no forests to walk through, no oceans stretching to the horizon. The sky is black, silent, endless. Would a colony on Mars ever truly feel like home? Or would it remain, no matter how advanced, a place of exile, a settlement sustained not by choice, but by necessity? We tell ourselves that humanity is meant to explore, that we are destined to leave Earth behind. But is that true? Or is it only true in the stories we tell? If space is our future, then it is one we must earn, not by dreaming of escape, but by understanding what it truly demands. We look to the stars as a promise, a future waiting to be claimed. Space is not a solution. It is a question, a test of what kind of civilization we truly are. If we venture beyond Earth, we take more than just technology. We bring our values, our struggles, our history. Will space be a second chance, a fresh start, or will it become yet another battleground for power, resources, and control? The answer is not written in the stars. It is written in the choices we make before we leave. Some believe space is essential for survival, that remaining on Earth means waiting for disaster. Climate change, overpopulation, dwindling resources, each a reminder of our planet's limits. But others argue that looking outward before solving our problems here is an act of avoidance, that instead of abandoning Earth, we should be fighting to restore it. If we cannot care for the world that gave us life, what makes us believe we will do better on another? Yet, space still calls to us, not just as an escape, but as a challenge, a way to push the boundaries of what it means to be human, the vast distances, the unknown dangers, the questions we cannot yet answer. In the end, the question is not whether we can reach the stars, it is whether we should. And if we do, what kind of future will we create? A future of survival, or one of purpose? That answer will not come from technology alone. It will come from us. This video has come to an end, but the discovery continues. Check out more content on the channel and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching.